All right, good morning, everyone. Let's get going. All right. Last night, S&P was trading more or less around flatline. U.S. markets, I should say in general, trading more or less right around flatline. With about 45 minutes or an hour left to go, we started quite a steep uphill sprint. And I think, from what I understand, maybe more because of some of the comments made from out of Greece than anything. The markets really looked like they were just going to kind of close around flatline. Greece came out and said that they weren't going to be as aggressive in pushing for the write-downs on the Greek bonds and that sort of thing. And I think that markets took that well. Other than that, no reason that I know of for such a sprint into the close. I do think that it's important nonetheless. One of the big things that we saw yesterday was the oil price rallying back above $50 on light sweet crude. As we speak right now, it's just a touch below. Brent back up to around 55. And we saw a lot of the oil stocks run really hard yesterday. We saw Sasol in particular do 8% in the States yesterday. Here it was up about almost 7%. So we had a huge run in the oil stocks across the board. Sasol, led the charge by a country mile. You could see that there's some big short interest open there, obviously. So other than that, we did have some market data out yesterday. We had ISM manufacturing numbers that came out a little bit soft out of the States. We had PMI numbers throughout the globe recently as well. So there's been a lot of data to be kind of inputted. The U.S. data seems to be slipping slightly soft at the moment. It'll be interesting to see if that can start to strengthen back up as oil price starts to factor in maybe a little bit into some of these numbers that are coming out. ExxonMobil came out just now or yesterday as well. They beat expectations. Didn't trade all that well on the back of the fact that they're struggling to kind of keep their output numbers higher, but was able to beat surprisingly. Okay, overnight in Asia, we had a huge move out of Australia, up about 1.5% on the back of a rate cut there. So that's two policy meetings in a row where they've cut interest rates in Australia. Obviously, things are under pretty serious pressure there because of the commodity prices that have fallen so aggressively, and that's put big pressure onto the local economy there, which probably has the most expensive housing market in the world relative to the average salary earned. Outside of that, we had China as well that traded really strongly on the day. A few things up. Lenovo trading well, but I'm not really sure that there was any specific leader there. Well, what's interesting is that we continue to see the Chinese corruption crackdown there. We had another one of the I think it was the CEO of one of the biggest banks. I think it was the biggest private bank, which was arrested. I think he was arrested 3 or 4 days ago. They only announced that he was arrested yesterday, and which is kind of maybe the next place that they kind of go after could be the financial space. So that could really get interesting if that heats up there. Japan actually down on the day a little bit based on the stronger yen. One of the things I've been watching really closely recently has been the yen as sort of a risk indicator, and it just continues to strengthen. And I'm not sure if that's because I'm looking at the wrong thing, or if it's simply just because now the rest of the globe's also starting to get ridiculously aggressive in monetary policy and also cutting rates to nothing. But either way, the yen just hasn't been able to resume its weakness, and because of that, the Nikkei down a little bit under pressure. So it's quite evident right now that we're under a serious onslaught right now globally from currency wars. Everybody trying to weaken their currency, everybody trying to stimulate their economy as much as possible by getting aggressive on the monetary policy side. We've got Australia cutting rates twice in a row now. We had Canada, which cut rates recently. We've got India, who also cut rates recently. And I think that at some point that's going to, we talked earlier about the interest rate expectations changing here. We're down to 7.12 on the 10-year. If we see that slip below 7, then I think that you'll start to, that would be a sign that the market probably thinks that we're looking to come and cut rates. So just watch that accordingly. It could be interesting to follow that. Right now, I don't think that the bank's even leaning anywhere close to cutting, which could leave us in a place where the rand starts to strengthen from here. So that's another thing that we can keep our eye on over the next few weeks. All right, chart of interest today, a really cool chart of interest. And this is one of the things that we talked about, and I think yesterday's morning call, is the divergence right now between U.S. equities and the rest of the globe. I mean, the U.S. is kind of at a different cycle than everyone else, and so the U.S. is seen to be hiking, I guess, at their sometime this year. Still, I think the market's somewhat pricing that in, although yields and treasuries are starting to fall again. Either way, they're definitely not looking to loosen things up anytime soon. The rest of the globe's loosening. So what's happened here over the past, this is only going back over the last 7 or 8 trading days. The divergence we've seen between South Africa and the U.S. And that divergence has also been similar between the rest of the world and the U.S. I mean, everything else is running, everything else is trading really well. And the U.S. is struggling, so outside from last night. The bottom line is we've seen a huge divergence open up. Aussies outperformed the U.S. by 4.7% in the last 6 or 7 trading days. Quite interesting. All right, getting into the corporate action, nothing here locally. We've got UPS, Gilead, and Walt Disney all out in the States today. If we look at the market data out today, very little. We've got market construction PMI in the UK, we've got PPI out of the Eurozone, and we've got factory orders at our closing bell in the States. All right, let's get into the maps. First thing I want to look at here is the German DAX. This thing's just been out of this world. It's just traded so well. And you can see here, so we're looking at a 30-minute here. We broke out hugely however long ago, and we've just been consolidating now for the last 7 or 8 trading days. And as of yesterday, we broke out. I mean, we made a new closing high on the DAX. I think we made new highs on the DAX as well. And right now, I think that we probably got another quick 150, 175, something along those lines in terms of a technical target. So, this thing's run, we had talked about the other day, 14%, 14 trading days. I think it's up roughly 15, 16% from that same period of time. Now we're probably looking at about 20 trading days. That's just insane run on a major index. And it's just, for me, it's impossible to believe that the Eurozone stimulus is going to have that kind of an impact on any country there, for that matter. But it is what it is. It looks incredibly bullish and continues to run. All right, we're going to show several of the commodity names today because they're starting to really look like they're in play. My worry today, or my thought today is that some of these things could squeeze the way that the Sasol squeezed yesterday, just because there's probably some decent short interest out there. Billy's got above this 255 level that we looked at yesterday, definitely looking a little bit inverse head and shoulder, actually quite a big target here. So keep an eye out for this thing. It traded up 3.5% in Australia. How much of that was because of the interest rate cut? Who knows? But bottom line is there's quite a big target here. I would say as much as 25 Rand of upside potentially in Billiton from here. Anglo's also, kind of at this little inflection point, or sorry, it's not all the way up there, but you got to expect that we're going to test there first thing this morning, up around 199, 200. Look how many wicks we got up around that level, and it just wasn't able to break out. I mean, I think if we get above that level, then I think easily we can probably tack on a quick, 10 to 15 bucks in Anglo's. Sasol was just insane, this move that it made yesterday, and especially the way that it moved into the close in the States. I mean, you're either looking at a retest of where we bounced up to on some of these other mornings, which is around 455, something like that. In fact, we even wicked all the way up to 460, so that might be where you want to look. Somewhere between here, 455 and 460, I think, this morning. If it gets above that, then, geez, this thing could really fly. I wouldn't be surprised to see it fade back down toward 390 in a quick move and give us a little bit of an inverse head and shoulder setup. But just watch this one closely. That's a very, very key level for Sasol this morning. BGA made a huge reversal yesterday. Obviously, Standard Bank's earnings coming out. Banks all traded a little bit soft there yesterday. We've got this big level here in about 183 in BGA. I was kind of hoping it would get down there and maybe have a little bit of a nibble. It did trade down, I think, to somewhat fill the gap here at about 186. Because this is also, we did have that spike up here. We came back down sub 183 and traded for a little bit, and then we broke out, I think, and we really only could call it a breakout once we got through 186. We did come down and test that yesterday. Whether or not we get right down there again today, but somewhere between 183 and 186 might not be a bad place to have a nibble and some BGA if you like it on support. And then the last one, I showed this yesterday. This is your NASFERS charts. Same sort of thing. This thing broke out yesterday, although unconvincingly, and definitely looking like it can make a move to the upside. We are off actually quite a lot more this morning in Tencent, probably north of 1.5%. Now we're down 0.5%. So we'll have to see if this thing can gather any momentum this morning. But I think as long as we hold above 1,700, this stock looks good for $150 at some point to me. And that's it for today, guys. Good luck out there.